Alright, welcome back to BrainFLoTv, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. This whole YNW Melly trial, I could seriously tell that people are already over it. Check it. Yesterday, I checked Law and Crime, and Law and Crime usually has the live preview or the live whole show of the trial as the trial is going on. It's live streamed on Law and Crime Network on YouTube. Shout out to them. Now, while you're watching Law and Crime, the numbers are usually staggering as the amount of people that have watched each and every episode of YNW Melly's courtroom activities within a 24-hour period. We're talking hundreds of thousands of views. I checked yesterday, and Melly was recently in court. I believe it was on Friday, and it had 32,000 views. 32,000 views for a trial that usually every appearance has hundreds of thousands, if not 1 point something million views. That tells me that people are losing interest, or maybe the people are just waiting for the actual trial to start and they're more caught up right now in the Young Thug YSL Rico drama that's taking place down in Atlanta. Anyways, here's some updated information that's like less than 24 hours old, plus some that's a little bit older, like 24 hours or more, that you could get into concerning the YNW Melly trial. Boutros. Let's put it this way. Broward prosecutors defend Melly investigation ahead of the courtroom showdown. That was the headline. Shout out to trenddetail.com. So Broward prosecutors coming in to the aid of the lead investigator in this high-profile murder trial are openly questioning the accuracy, the reliability, and the consistency of a potential defense witness in the case. Guess who this damn defense witness is, my friend? None other than their fellow prosecutor. Remember, she took the stand against them for YNW Melly's team, which I said was kind of weird because I had never seen police turn against police, lawyers turn against lawyers in a courtroom. So either a lot of money must have been paid, and that was just my assessing the situation and just giving my opinion. I'm not insinuating, not saying that they're paying her off. She might be standing on business and standing on solid ground, but it's just kind of weird to see that. Anyways, the witness is one of their fellow prosecutors. So lawyers on both sides of the case are preparing for another courtroom confrontation coming up this Friday. One that could either cement the current prosecutor's roster for Jamel YNW Melly Demons' upcoming retrial, or this could actually see the case assigned to prosecutors from a whole other county entirely. Let's remember, YNW Melly's attorneys had filed a whole bunch of motions. They filed a motion to have the lead prosecutor removed from the case. They filed a motion to have the lead detective removed from the case. They filed a lead to have the entire department, Broward County Prosecutor's Department, removed from the case. And they filed a motion to have that case thrown out. And they also filed a motion to have that case barred from ever being tried again in a court of law. I know some people said, yeah, they're just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks. But guess what? Some of it has been sticking like crazy. So in YNW Melly's defense, they've been winning behind the scenes a lot, which has me sitting back looking at this case like, yo, anything is possible. It looks like he very well could walk. Of course, legal heads are saying, nah, they just setting him up for the big grand slam, and his attorneys know it too. They're just rinsing that money, trying to get as much as they can because they know it's up the road for him. Right now, my personal opinion, I don't really know which way this case is going. I can't wait for the actual case to start. I'm seriously sitting here looking at this case, waiting for it to start like it's some hot Netflix series that I've been watching, and I'm waiting for the next episode to come on. Anyways, this was popping. Lawyers on both sides of this case are preparing to go back to court. If they go back to court and they prove that the accuracy, the reliability, and the consistency of that detective Boutros who went against them is actually so, then they could possibly have this entire case moved to a whole different county away from. Now, this would throw this whole case into a tailspin, because if a whole department got to take this case on, that simply means that the lead detective who gathered all this evidence for this case would actually be thrown off the case as well. That means the whole department who has this case would be thrown off the case as well. So let's see how that goes on Friday. Jamel Demons, who is now 24 years old, who's been locked up since he was 19, is accused of murdering two longtime friends in October of 2018. His fellow rappers and his homies, his childhood playbox friends. We're talking about Anthony YNW Sack Chaser and William and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas. His first trial ended last summer of 2023 with a mistrial, and his retrial has been reset a couple of times. Right now, we're looking at a March date for his retrial. The most prominent of them involved accusations leveled by Assistant State Attorney Michelle Boutros, who, I don't know, everybody is saying something is up about Michelle Boutros, but I don't know. Who she accused, she is one of the prosecutors. You got to understand how major this is. To get a prosecutor, a lawyer from the department to turn against her whole department, to flip her whole department for your case, that's like getting Michael Jordan in his prime to leave the Bulls and come play for your team in the hunt for a championship. It is that serious. So the most prominent of them involves in accusations leveled by Assistant State Attorney Michelle Boutros, who accused Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti, who is the lead detective in the YNW Melly case. She is accusing him, her fellow co-worker. They work at the same department, and she's accusing him of plotting to lie about a seizure of a cell phone while he was executing a search warrant on the defendant's mother in October 2022. Now, we've heard this multiple times already before. We thought this was already put to bed. They were over with it and moving on to bigger and better things. But apparently, that's not the case. It's still a friggin' problem. And YNW Melly's attorneys, gloves off, or boxing it out. They bringing it back up. They putting him back on the stand. They're doing everything they can to get the most out of it that they can. Defense lawyers want Boutros to testify so they can undermine Moretti's credibility. As lead detective, he was called on to lay out the murder case for jurors, typing the forensic evidence to the circumstantial details pulled from cell tower records, social media pages, and text messages. He played a huge part. By the way, one of the updated information is that a lot of that stuff had gotten thrown out. Some of the circumstantial details, some of the cell phone tower evidence, some of the evidence that they had before that was presented in the first trial is barred from being used in the trial that's coming up, which I found to be pretty weird. To include text message communication leading up to the day of the murder, the day of the murders, and the freaking day after the murders. Now, why would you bar that type of information? I could see if the judge said, okay, listen, we're going way back. You're going back like a month. But what about the days like 48 hours before, 48 hours after? That's crucial. And YNW Melly's attorneys have been successful in getting that type of information barred from being used again in the upcoming trial, even though it was used in the first trial. Prosecutors spent the bulk of a 17-page motion discrediting Boutros' testimony, arguing that Boutros misinterpreted what Moretti said and mischaracterized how it was handled by his office. So in other words, She overheard some stuff. She thought it was something else. She flipped the script, and she was wrong for doing that. They also argued that the seizure of the cell phone was not part of the murder investigation. Prosecutors believe that Demon's mother was engaged in an effort to tamper with witnesses in her son's case. She was never charged with that offense, but Demons, which is Melly, and his co-defendant Cortland Henry were. The hashtag lie, quote unquote lie, that Moretti allegedly plotted in front of Boutros was never carried out in a testimony or official reports. Had Boutros not come forward, it would have remained unknown. So she is like a whistleblower within her department. Defense lawyers are planning to argue that the Broward State Attorney's Office cannot ethically try this case in which one of its own employees is a witness for the defense and is actually going against has broken ranks and is going against the entire department. Friday's hearing will be in front of the Broward County Circuit Judge or Broward Court Circuit Judge John Murphy, and Demon's retrial is for right now still scheduled to begin in March. Shout out to Rafael Olmeida. Let's get into some different info that's also, according to Hot New Hip Hop, boom, less than 15 hours ago, after multiple delays, YNW Melly's second trial for a pair of 2018 murders is finally set to get underway soon. Opening arguments are expected to begin in early March, and the pretrial proceedings are currently ongoing. That means that evidence is being introduced and weighed by both the prosecution and the defense to be used in the upcoming trial. Occasionally, this has resulted in victories for YNW Melly and his team, like when some of the evidence that was introduced by the prosecution was ruled ineligible last month. Like I just told y'all what it was. It's actually text message information leading up to and the day of and the day after the murder. And again, I don't know how they got to the point where the judge says could take that out. I think that is crucial information that needed to be in there. But now the prosecution has submitted some new evidence that crosses path with one of the most controversial debates among rappers on trial. According to Bryson Boone Paul, the prosecution submitted lyrics from 58 different songs Melly appears on. They also reportedly submitted 4 of his album covers to evidence. In addition, they also asked to include 2 experts on gangs and rap lyrics as witnesses. Though the judge has officially ruled one way or the other on the submissions, it's a controversial move. Check out the full list of tracks because they are on the internet somewhere that the prosecution has actually given. Now this is a part where I said this right here I don't think this is a good move. And the reason why I don't is because the first trial was just so long, you just started falling asleep in the middle of the trial, getting confused about all the details because it was too much coming at you too fast. And majority of us right now, we're like short attention span kind of people, right? Among the 58 song lyrics are songs like Mischief on My Mind, Suicidal. It ain't Mischief on My Mind, it's Murder on My Mind, Suicidal, all kinds of other songs. Alexandria Bukleu submitted all these to the courts, and they're gonna, so imagine how long this trial is gonna be, that they have to go through the song lyrics of 58 friggin' songs. Bruh, I don't know. I really don't think that this is gonna be a slam dunk for the prosecution. Anyways, you could go to Bryson Boone Paul on Twitter and check out the songs that are actually on the list, so you will know ahead of time. And then you can probably even go listen to those songs and see what in the songs might be beneficial to the prosecution, where they can say, you know, this paints a character, this paints a picture of who he is, of what his character is about, or this one links to the murder, like they committed the murder and then did a song and rapped about it. Too controversial to be used right now. Now, if Melly does have to face his lyrics in court in March, he won't be the only one that's dealing with this, with his whole song in court type of deal. Young Thug also has his lyrics used in court right now as part of his RICO trial. Young Thug's defense team in this case had to repeatedly explain the actual origins of those lyrics that the prosecution tried to reference to alleged gang activities. So this is all going to come down to one big mess, really, because if they're talking in codes in these songs and they're claiming that they have some experts who are going to decipher these codes and tell you what that verse means and what this verse actually means, it's all going to come down to interpretation, right? And then not only that, we also got to remember, even Fat Joe said it the other day, a lot of these rappers lie, including himself. You embellish stories. You over accentuate. You friggin' just say all kinds of stuff just to make it sound good on a record. Doesn't mean you actually do it or did it in real life. Now, the debate over rap lyrics being used in court, that's been raging for years. Social justice advocates in hip-hop world like Killer Mike and Meek Mill, they have repeatedly spoken out against this. Some states have even made a legal maneuver to prevent lyrics from being used in a criminal court proceedings. Like out in California, it's barred from being used. You can't use a rapper's lyrics against him in California, but Melly is in Florida and Young Thug is in Georgia. They're both in the South. And the South does not play that. They want all the smoke with all the rap lyrics, and they want to put it in the courtroom and decipher it. What do you think about the prosecution submitting all these different damn songs? 58 songs. All these album covers. What do you think is going to happen with this case? Do you think this is going to be a slam dunk? Something that's going to help? Or do you think this is going to be a big old mess, which is going to bog the case down, slow it down so much that it's not going to have any relevancy, and Melly might, forget Melly, the jury might become, I don't know, like lost in the sauce because it's too much to take in, confused. And because they're confused, they won't be able to come up with a solid verdict of guilty or innocent. So we will end in another mistrial. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. You already know if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Peace.